Hello everybody, once again this is Pandemic Mark with KCOSDigitalMedia.com. This is our Colorado Saturday Night Live at the venue in Denver, and we love this place. We gotta applaud them for keeping the COVID quarantine rules and still providing entertainment through us to the world. And I'm really excited tonight to introduce a band that I just discovered through Michael Martinez, who obviously says these guys are amazingly good. And, everyone is in some form of, cover up lately, but you guys really do this everywhere you go, right?
Yeah.
This is part of the Dead Nancy persona.
Pretty
right?
much.
Now, what also I noticed, and I really like about the Dead Nancy persona, is that you guys, like us at KCOS Digital Media, we don't really disclose our names. But what you guys do is you have adopted into individual personas, and I'll let you introduce your particular one and the concept behind why you chose to exemplify the concept you're portraying. We can start with the gentleman on the far left.
I'm Anger, drummer.
That kind of fits, don't it?
Yeah, enough said.
I like angry drummers. You just don't throw sticks, do you?
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose, okay.
Right.
I'm Guilt. Part of this was to present more about how we represent ourselves as an element of the band, what drove us to be musicians. So basically, all the cruddy things I've done in my life, which have been a lot, music is my way of maybe apologizing to the world. Here's something nice, here's something to listen to, and it kind of goes for each and one of us, and it sediments a stage of grief too for each one of us, and that's kind of what you get out of our music is grief and sorrow. It's not happy music.
Right.
Well, I'm sure that it's happy to some that
It's not a happy
subscribe
time
to
right
the
now.
concept and that have heard you guys before. But let's finish the introductions, and I got some more key questions I'd love to ask.
I go by Denial. I don't really have a premise for it.
You're not Egyptian, are you?
No.
No river, no.
So you're not going to deny anything right now?
If I said no, I would be a hypocrite. So.
Why do I ask these questions? Yeah, I'm getting what I want out of that. Yeah, no, this is so interesting. I mean, this is we'll get to the questions after we get this introduction out of the way. Am I right?
All right. I'm Depression. Just music kind of spoke to me in a time when I was, very depressed and having some problems in my life, and I kind of embodied that in what I try to portray in our music with the bass lines and things of that nature. I think kind of that low end support kind of fits the persona of Depression, and like you mentioned, it's part of a stage of grief. We all kind of deal with different types of depression in some different way, and it seems to fit me.
And okay, if this was a Depression Anonymous meeting, hi, I'm Mark. I have my own issues as well, as most of you or some of you might know, but this is my outlet.
Right.
And so your combined emotions actually do play on each other in more than a few ways, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
Absolutely.
I would agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
So who thought of the concept of the hood and the mask configuration?
That would be me. Something that just popped in my head one night with some coworkers, just riding along in the truck and talking about music and talking about bands that either have created concepts out of their albums, and we just like, well, what would be a good concept? And And then Dan Dancy came up, and for some reason, you know, the old cartoon watching guy that I am thought of 2 white X's. And I was like, that's it. And, you know, we've had some moderations to our costumes over time, but it's been generally this type of persona. We'd like to just, you know, we're just dark shadows, you know, don't worry about our looks, and like, let's not worry about who we are, and just listen to what we have to say and listen to our music and like it, and or don't like it, but
Take it or leave it. It's your
Yeah.
Now, so there was no other parallel influence, like, okay, Slipknot does this stuff, Mushroomhead does this stuff. This was totally the way that you wanted to present yourselves.
Well, of course, those bands are always an influence. You
Yeah.
know, those really inspired many bands to maybe make a change in what we see in a lot of mainstream music. It's very much about looks and what you can sell, and we're not out to sell anything. Just, you know, we just want you to hear our music and like it or not. You
Well,
know?
I'm really excited.
Right.
I mean, you sent me some tracks, and I'm like, wow, this is good stuff. And
Well,
so
we
you
appreciate
are
it.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's always
you
good to
are
hear.
working on a full-length LP, right?
Yeah.
LP, CD,
1 to 2
whatever.
songs at a time right now, because
Uh-huh.
you know we have to collect money. We're
Right.
working stiffs too, and
You know, and that's what I gotta admire about the bands in Colorado and, you know, anywhere else I've been, is that the people that entertain you actually work a full day's work for the most part, and then contribute even more. And this is kind of maybe an oxymoron, that you guys have labeled yourselves with emotions that you have, but in your own way, your express motive was to entertain.
Right. Right.
yeah, and you know the emotions that we project, each one of us, ultimately creates our sound. You know, it's deeply embedded in what we do, and I don't think that's ever going to change.
Well, and really, I mean, what's interesting to me is like I say, I can relate to all 4 of your emotional patterns, and I think most people can too.
Right.
Lastly, I guess, you know, you said you watch a lot of cartoons. Am I missing something? What's the deal behind the name Dead Nancy in the first place?
We decided that we were going to tell some obscure stories, and I would say we got Dead Nancy. It's from so many different ways. When it first came up, it didn't have much meaning, and then I read something about a missing nun in Pennsylvania by the name of Nancy, and then the BTK killer had abducted and wrote a poem and sent to the Wichita police. A poem about Nancy admitting his guilt, and these Nancy names just kind of all made sense, and it just stuck.
So it didn't begin with Nancy Reagan and just
No, it's a premise to a story about an evil world, and that you know.
That was a joke for all you guys that
Right.
still don't get my humor. That just shows my age, though, right? You know, that probably wasn't even a thought to you guys, but
I got that one. I got that. The dance
All right,
laser.
yeah.
I got it. That was FCC's battle and stuff like that, wasn't it? Like the
well,
same
no,
kind of
that
thing as
was
Laura Bush.
that was Tipper Gore,
Oh yeah.
but Nancy Reagan was that just say no about drug program.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. You know, and that's it. I like to connect the dots,
Right.
and you know, there's so much forgotten information, but
Sure.
still, we all become who we are, no matter how young or how old we are, and it's interesting that you related a bunch of non-specific incidences into what become your band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just turned out to just be a mishap of words between some work friends of mine, and it just kind of stuck, and it stunk, man. It was terrible. It just kind of stuck in my head, and I spent about a decade of just playing by myself and not being able to find, the right musician at the right time. And I came across these guys, and it turned out great. I couldn't ask for a better group of guys to jam with.
Well, I can relate to that too, because we've been doing this interview series. We've been doing it in Colorado Springs for 5 years, but like I say, the venue's been gracious enough into partnering with us so we can continue in the same realm. But the fact is that the main purpose is to get music communicated from our independent bands all over Colorado on a medium we call KCOS, digitalmedia.com. And I don't know if you knew, I don't know if we had time to tell you, but we have a group page called Colorado Music Network on KCOSdigitalmedia.com that feel free to post events, videos, anything you want.
Heck yeah, we'll do
We've
that.
got
Sure.
almost 8,000 group members on that page, and we've got like 8,000 followers on the Facebook page. So like our page, but really like these guys' page, because
Love all of us.
yeah,
Everybody.
the social media thing, I won't even go into a tirade about it.
Right.
But I do way too much work on, actually, and it's not work, okay, because I really enjoy promoting you guys and other interesting bands that I find along the way.
Right.
Michael Martinez was the one that said, "Oh, Dead Nancy, man." So, okay, I'm kind of confused. One of you is from Parker, Colorado, right?
That's me, yeah.
No.
Okay, but then when Michael said, "Hey, there's a band from Grand Junction," who lives in Grand Junction?
The rest
Everyone
of the
else,
bands.
yeah.
Okay, so here again, I mean, we've had just an amazing response to bands from all over the state. Grand Junction, if you don't know Colorado, look on a map. Grand Junction is all the way to the west, and it's a trip. How long was the drive here today?
We had to go around because of the fire, so it ended up being
That's
six and a
right.
half hours.
And 6.5 hours to come and do this show. You guys better really put some comments on the Facebook pages and the YouTube comment bars. I want to hear some real chatter, because I can't thank these guys enough for wanting to come and do this in this specific time when people are afraid to go to the grocery store.
Right.
But the concept works well with the guidance.
With the
We're all
guidelines.
safe as long as we're in this room, right?
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
No, but the venue has been just great about continuing the compliance with social distancing, and that's why KCOS is here, is to bring the event to the world and make it worth the 6-hour drive to get these guys on the air. First of all, your tracks are already in rotation.
Nice.
And secondly, this is going to be live streamed to the world. And as we always do, you guys, this is your music, so we don't claim any rights to the video. You guys can take this video, use it for any purpose that you want.
Nice.
But really, once again, thanks again for coming all this way. And I can't wait to hear your music. I didn't get to hear sound check yet, but as I told the previous band, they had a studio CD that was really slick and lush, but then when they were doing sound check, it was like, whoa, this is pretty raw, pretty good energy.
Mhm.
So is that kind of a good thing of anticipation about you guys?
We're not quiet.
Yeah, sure.
I always, there's this other, syndicated show that hopefully one day will be a syndicated show. Maybe not,
Yeah.
but, his favorite thing is this or that. Okay, so,
You might catch us on a heavy metal night. You might catch us on a a shoegaze night. You just never know
Yeah.
with us.
Well, and that was the question. Okay, do you much rather prefer recording in the studio and fine tuning and dialing stuff in,
Oh,
or
we
do
hate
you
that.
just like get there on
But it's a
stage
necessary
and-
evil.
Yeah, that's
Crazy.
the no fun part of the job is to really realize how off time you really are when you go into the studio, and you're used to that in your head, but a machine's always going to beat you to the punch.
And
That's
so-
hard for us, but we're getting there.
Is
Yeah.
that why you're denial?
Oh, he's denial.
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's
Or
fine.
are you?
Or am I?
Am I?
Who we are, yeah. It's almost like a version of Spy versus Spy. Right?
Right.
Right.
I had to say that for Nate's benefit. He just walked in. But is there anything else that you wish I would have asked you or you want to add? First of all, where can we find you besides Facebook?
Instagram at Dead Nancy. That's about it. We don't really have too much social media.
We're on every major streaming platform.
Yes.
All
Yeah,
three of our releases.
Yeah, the
Spotify
releases, the
and
tracks will be
whatnot,
good.
and-
Including KCOSdigitalmedia.com.
Indeed.
No, no.
Included.
So we're looking forward to, when do you think the new product's going to be ready?
It won't be a lot for a bit, but we'll be releasing some content in between there, so
Yeah.
we'll give you a taste of the album, and then maybe we'll come at you with the full thing with some extra songs, possibly in a year or two. So
All right. Well, so okay, you guys play in Grand Junction. How long you been together? First of all, really, I should ask that first. Huh?
Yeah.
4 years.
4 years.
Yep, 4 years.
And are you like regular anywhere in Grand Junction?
No, we don't get too many gigs in Junction.
Really?
We've recently had a few, but Denver seemed to want to snag us up, so we've been coming out here every chance we had. The venue's been great to us. So.
Right.
And Michael
Yeah.
Martinez has had us out here several times.
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
that's
a
great
good
for us.
he's a good dude. He really
We
is.
really appreciate coming up here because there's some bands that just won't come down to Colorado Springs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we've been enjoying meeting a whole lot of new bands, and that's our mission. If you listen in daily like I do, we have different formats, but really it's when you're in rotation, we play everything that you give us. So when the new CD comes out and there's like 15 tracks on there, maybe everyone will be heard eventually.
Oh, nice.
Well,
Because
that's
it's
good.
like
that's
it's
awesome.
like a Pandora of Colorado music.
Right.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's when I was a kid and really into records, it wasn't so much the songs, it was the album, the whole thing in its entirety that you had, and
Exactly.
it was just something about that particular album or whatnot. And that's kind of fading a lot when it's now more song by song download online, but it's good to just at least get the whole album's worth of stuff out there.
Well, I just received a request from a band that provided us their latest CD, and it's basically a concept CD.
Okay.
And
Well,
so
that's
they
cool.
made it very
Yeah.
clear that which songs were basically okay as standalone songs, but which songs should be played together.
Right.
And I thought that's very novel, So I'm assuming you follow that concept, maybe.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
We're hoping to include stuff like that on our album.
So your music is going to turn into really concept
There's
based.
definitely a concept to it.
Yeah.
We tend to write our lyrics to where it can be taken in different ways depending on how you interpret those lyrics. But there's always a dark undertone there. Kind of gives you a clue about what we're really talking about.
Right.
All right, so listen up, people. It's not just great music. I gotta say I'm more music centric, but now that you mentioned that you have to listen to the lyrics, I'm going to be paying particular attention.
Cool. Yeah.
Nice.
And emphasize that to the viewing audience and whoever's going to be watching this Who knows
we're
how far in the future?
you know, storytelling, dark stories, you know.
Well, yeah, and then who knows? Maybe, you know, in time we'll
Right.
catch you again, and you know, we can see how things have progressed and
Right.
talk about that. And,
Cool.
For sure.
never any shortage of things to say. So, in that regard, is there anything else that you'd like to say?
Let's rock.
What's wrong?
All
Ready
right.
to kill some shows right now. Yeah.
Ready to watch the first band?
Hyperdrive.
I'm ready for that.
From La Junta, Colorado. So, yeah,
Hyperdrive.
Hometown shout out for that one. I'm from La Junta myself, and then I moved to Junction when I was older. Yeah.
Well, you know, I asked them, I said, how's the music scene in La Junta? And
Yeah.
really, they're basically kind of a studio concept band. So
Right.
how is the music scene in La Junta?
It wasn't. I was very young when I was in La Junta, but it was definitely kind of non-existent. It was kind of, you know, like mariachi style music. You know, that southeastern Colorado kind of.
I grew up in Central California. I love mariachi music.
It's got definitely a more Latino feel to the music mostly, but you know, there was, you know, like kind of a metal scene. It exists, but it's minor. It's not really pushed in the bars and stuff. So I mean, I don't know how it is now, but when I was younger, there were, you know, some people playing bars, kind of cover bands, things like that. But you know, at least there was something there.
Well,
Because it's a
what-
pretty small town.
One thing I did notice is that one of you or all of you are friends with Mr. Nate Wild in Grand Junction.
Right, he was at the show we did with Awaiting Eternity. When the Mesa Theater just started opening bands back up, and we were one of the first shows, and he was there to promote that. And
Well, that's great.
That's good to hear, yeah.
I mean, I've never met him. We've corresponded a bit, but I sure would, you know, still like to consider what we could do together. But that's another topic. But really,
right,
Dead Nancy, everybody. Can't wait to hear him. What we're going to do is, you know, Hyperdrive's on first, and then we're going to insert these interview clips in between set changes, so you, the viewing audience, won't miss a beat and sit around going, well, what do we do during set change?
Right.
So, any last words? Want to do the big wave goodbye to everybody? And
goodbye,
thumbs up.
everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your
Thank
support.
you.
Thank you.
And listen to them on KCOSdigitalmedia.com.